The lure of money is a powerful motivator. The Bible states in 1 Timothy 6:10, "For the love of money, some pierce themselves through with many sorrows." And the observation is, the richer a person is, the more perverse they become. People often desire money to their own destruction. Nowhere is that more evident than in a casino. Many are attracted to the casino environment because they believe they can win money. However, the reality of that illusion becomes directly proportional to the elapsed time spent gambling in a casino. For the longer they play, the more likely the probability they will lose. If we step back for a moment and examine the various games of chance, we can readily see why that is so. First of all, the games are constructed in such a manner that the casino has an unfair advantage. Added to that is the dishonest payoff of winning wagers, where the player is paid at less than the actual true odds. Those two factors account for nearly all the losses incurred by hopeful gamblers. The remainder can be attributed to undercapitalization, poor money management, and a certain X factor, which I shall discuss shortly. Most who gamble are unaware of these considerations, and armed with nothing more than unwarranted enthusiasm, they walk headlong into nightmarish circumstance, obscured by the glitter and opulence paid for by those many who came before. What appeared to be an open invitation to easy wealth is revealed as a trap, a fool's paradise housing a devouring beast lurking in the shadows. The unwary walk in, set down their money, and soon leave, minus their hard-earned cash. Most people are able to sustain a short-term loss, and moving on after the embarrassing disappointment, they avoid in the future a place where angels fear to tread. However, there is a smaller percentage of brave souls that will continue to rush in and over time establish a habit of losing money that is difficult to break. These are the gambling addicts, and they are hooked on something which they do not understand and cannot resist. While their drive to recover losses is strong and persistent, there is always somewhere in the back of their mind the false hope which initially drew them to the endeavor, and that eventually became an addiction that dictated the entire course of their life. Habitual gambling is a self-destructive lifestyle, one that consumes the addict's energy, controlling their actions, and as the losses become progressively greater, other areas of their life are adversely affected. Marriage, destruction of family, loss of bank account, and possibly even embezzlement of the employer's funds, loss of job, and ruined career. Gamblers are often also addicted in other areas, such as alcohol and drugs. A life in shambles, there is nowhere to go but further down. And without a social support network, community services like Gamblers Anonymous do little to correct the underlying cause of the affliction, which is spiritual. I wrote a book titled Fool's Paradise: The Spiritual Implications of Gambling. It is the only book of its kind, and it is the first book on the subject that takes the behavior of those who gamble to another level of understanding. For the issue of casinos and those who gamble is not as simple as it appears to be. The truth about casinos and gambling addictions finally needs to be told. The books that have been written on the subject do not do it justice, for they omit an essential and vital part of the equation by overlooking and failing to mention that casinos are a spiritual stronghold, a psychological trap, a physical locale where non-material spirit beings reside, invisible to the human eye as they wait in hiding for their next victim. Those who may doubt the existence of this X factor are advised to consider street musicians as they ply their craft before a baffled and amazed audience. They can pick a specific card out of 10 decks, or move a row of cards around on a table just by the mere wave of their hand. They can predict the outcome of rolls of dice, or where the little white ball will fall on the roulette wheel. They seem to have unlimited power to know the future, and their uncanny abilities bear a strong resemblance to demonic manifestations of a supernatural kind. What gamblers in general, and the gambling addicts specifically, don't realize is that, like the Ouija board, casino games are under the influence of demonic spirits, which are otherwise known as demons. One can see this upon evaluating the outcome of a long series of casino gaming decision events. This I did as a scientific study, and could see where the mathematical probabilities ended and the spiritual manipulation began. The conclusion was inescapable. There is an influencing factor on the outcome of the roll of dice, flip of a card, drop of a tiny white ball. I was able to show the point at which an extraneous force was exerted precisely at the point where there occurred a ruinous outcome. The probability of such an occurrence was 1 chance in over 500,000. This was proof of a higher dimensional involvement in what otherwise appeared to be merely random chance events. And that result seals the case for the enigma of the gambler's paradox, that he loses everything at exactly the point at which he must win. And so, therefore, the gambling addict cannot escape his dilemma. He will continue to lose when the long-term probability predicts loss, and when the short-term expectation is sabotaged by invisible, malevolent spirit beings assigned to bring about his destruction. The only cure for a gambling addiction is total cessation of all forms of gambling and an acknowledgement of the spiritual reality that is behind casinos. Anything less will maintain him or her in a state of ignorance regarding the true cause of their financial losses, and will forever retain them in an overpowering illusion which is only a fool's paradise.